Bennett & Johnson Insurance Agency in Alma is your local independent auto owners insurance agency.
Hello Raider Nation, welcome to this edition of the Red Raider Coaches Show. My name is Brent Johnson, along with head football coach Keith Goss. Coach, how you doing?
Doing all right.
Doing just okay?
Doing pretty good.
Doing pretty good. Coach, well, welcome back again to this edition. I want to talk real quickly about some sponsors that we want to recognize. Some of our big boy sponsors is what I'll call them. We're recognizing 2 each week because there's just so many. We want to make sure we give each one their due recognition and don't want to water it down any at all. But we want to recognize first Carver Drug Company and Gifts. Kind of near and dear to me because I went to school with this guy, Phil Carver. He was a year ahead of me, and he was a football player. He was a quarterback for the Red Raiders, I know, for 2 years.
I've seen some pictures. I've seen some throwback pictures of him.
Yeah. He was a lefty we had for us. And did a good job. He was a great pitcher on the mound as well. And he's one of those hometown guys that he goes off to college and he comes back and he works in his hometown and supports his hometown by with his monetary gifts as well as his physical support on certain things. So we're glad Phil has jumped on board.
Definitely appreciate it
with what he's trying to do there. Also, we want to mention another long-standing business in our community, and that's FMB South. Mr. Zach Johnson and his staff there do a great job in our community of supporting, not only high school athletics, but all the way up from the rec league, middle school, and so on and so forth. So, again, I want to thank FMB South, again, for their support of Red Raider Booster, which, again, that money's and that time and effort goes directly into the football program. So again, we want to take the time to thank those. Coach, about the sponsors for the meal last Friday.
The pregame meal was sponsored by Pine Level Church,
yes.
And it was done by Boat Rights. Pretty good meal as always.
Formerly Sarah's. If you're not used to the name change, but yeah, it was formerly Sarah's.
So it's. We really appreciate the church doing that. Obviously, having different churches in this community step up and help feed our kids is always a big help, and it's definitely appreciated.
Well, again, that's part of building a program is making sure these guys have proper nutrition as best as possible, because we know when they go home we can't control that, but we can during the school day, and also providing, I know y'all got a fridge down there in the conference room. Tell us a little bit about it. How that provides.
We make sure that we keep chocolate milk in there for post workout, and we have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches made every day. That's just to make sure that they're getting enough calories when you're going and you're going to lift weights and then turning around and practicing on the field, and we're just trying to make sure their body has enough to grow.
That takes a lot out of it.
It takes a lot of calories.
All right, so let's shift to the last game we played, where we hosted a pretty solid team. But before we get to the game itself, it was something a little different in the southern eastern corner of the football field.
Yeah, it's been quite an ordeal to get that thing done and up in time, but we're very proud of the jumbotron down in the corner of the end zone. Obviously, there's going to be a ton that we're going to be able to do with that over time. We're still learning all the bells and whistles, but it's something exciting beyond football. Soccer will use it as well. Graduation, that would be something nice where I think you'll have the ability to live stream straight to the board, so everybody can see their child's face going across the jumbotron. So there's a bunch of neat things, even probably different clubs and stuff can do with the board.
Yeah.
And different events that can be held out there now because of that. So I think there's a lot of things that it's going to be used for in time.
Yeah.
That will be all creative and fun things for the community.
Well, first thing comes to mind to me is Georgia-Florida game. I think
Just throw it up
there and have some lawn chairs and that sort of thing. Now, I'm not sure we can do that legally, but the fact you mentioned some bells and whistles. Matter of fact, this week I've been busy checking out some of those bells and whistles, and I've discovered it's pretty easy to throw a live feed up. Matter of fact, we saw a pre-video made, and we'll mention the Wall of Fame induction ceremony in just a moment, but you saw the video that was played up there. That was created in advance and played on demand. But we are able to shoot some things live, or anything we want really live through a camera, and you'll see that example tomorrow night during homecoming. We're going to project what's going on the field up on the big board so that there won't be a bad seat in the house. And as he mentioned, other events, it's not just about football. It's, again, soccer season, boys and girls, middle school, those types of things, all those events. Graduation, there won't be a bad seat in the house. Again, we'll be able to project the camera image up there as well. And it is pretty exciting. I think a lot of people, let's just address the elephant in the room, if it's pink or blue or whatever, but like, man, guys, what does a school our size need something like that? I'm sure there's been questions like that posed. I want to thank those that really got involved to raise the money for that thing,
Right,
and to provide it.
That wasn't a school system
No, that's right.
funded thing. That was a booster club funded.
That's
thing.
correct.
And we had several members of our booster club go out and get companies to donate to that. So that's not something that our school system did help some.
Yes.
But it was a smaller portion, and a lot of that money was raised outside the means of what comes in our school system budget.
Yes.
So
Almost all of it, basically.
almost all of it.
Yeah.
And so if the money's raised and it's something that's going to produce pride in our county, why wouldn't we do it?
Well, it's really cool, and we're going to try our best to take advantage of it. Using talents of my students and Mr. Reed Burkett, who's a new faculty member, former student, former football player at Bacon County High School, who is teaching business marketing for us this year. He's going to utilize his talents as well to help produce and create some cool things for the board, for the people to enjoy in the stands. So again, the sky's the limit with this thing, and again, I think if we utilize it how we anticipate, I think those folks maybe potentially have questioned why. They'll say, man, that is pretty cool, because it really will be. And speaking of that, we'll kind of talk just a moment about the Wall of Fame. A lot of work and a lot of effort behind that.
Right.
That's a year's process.
It
what
is,
I understand.
It is a year's process.
The committee is already probably looking now to meet to start preparing for next year.
And they generally look to pull somebody from each decade, starting from the 50s up. Mm-hmm. And right now, I think that stops around 2000, the 2000s group. So nobody from 2010 and above, or 2009 or 10, would be in yet, even if they've done some incredible things.
Yeah.
Once we feel like we've gone through and exhausted the last age group, we'll shift it up 10 years.
10 years.
But there's a ton of good coming from that, and getting people back involved in the program, and people we have plenty of guys that need to be recognized for their contributions to this program over the decades. So I think it's just a wonderful thing, and it's pretty neat when I think two of the guys up there had their sons playing, and those are special moments.
Certainly. Maybe the most, of the whole thing, that was probably the most special moment of not taking anything away from the rest of the guys, though. Some of the older gentlemen that were represented from the 50s and 60s and 70s, or 60s, I should say, but Stephon Dean being one, and Rasheed Slade, their sons, had just been on the field playing, and they were out in uniform with them. So that was a neat thing to see, neat for the other players to see as well. And again, moving forward, I think this is a good thing, and this could possibly carry over. I know there's been some questions asked and talked about in some other sports, in Bacon County School District.
There's been some great programs, and great teams that, I think it'd be great if their booster club programs picked up and did some of those things. We have, I think, a state champion, baseball team. We have a state champion basketball team, boys and girls. So obviously there's some people that deserve recognition in those programs. It's just setting those things up and building their own wall of fame.
Yeah. All right, so let's we'll shift gears to some football, some X's and O's.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about the game plan going into Coach. It's like it's a sore subject when you talk about missing some kids and kids getting hurt, and we're getting some kids back that aren't 100% because of the time they've missed. We just can't quite. It
hasn't all come together.
Haven't all come together.
And that's just the reality. We're working hard to get kids healthy and get kids up to speed. But it's hard to, when you're missing groups of kids or kids are out for COVID, it's hard to move things forward offensively and defensively when you're reteaching the same stuff every week. And so that's been a challenge where, we've had to do a lot of reteaching just because if I'm missing this kid for a week, great, he comes back. Now I'm missing this kid for a week. Now he comes back. And I spent a week catching him up, teaching him. Now a week catching him up, teaching him. And so, those are some of the challenges we're facing. I think just with the kids that we had out with COVID and everything else, I do think we were hit harder in some other programs. But that is what it is. We don't control those things.
Well, I see a good problem. As I'm in the booth and the radio guys are beside me and they're calling names out and I'm helping with that a little bit. And a good problem is we got a bunch of young kids that's helping our program right now.
There's a ton of guys that have gotten on the field and gotten an opportunity, and they've been doing stuff with their opportunities. Guys that may not have been on the radar to play as much because of the situations we've been through. They've been getting on the field and they've decided they want to stay there. They've worked hard enough to earn that spot. And so that is, not what we expected.
Yeah.
But that's what we're doing. That's what we're going through. We, I looked on the field the other night and we're playing, 4 and 5 freshmen on the field right now, and 4 or 5 sophomores on defense, and the defense is very young.
Yes.
So maybe not what we expected, but that's where we're at. We're going to continue to work and get better. The frustrations in game against Brantley County. We didn't start fast enough. We didn't start fast enough offensively. We didn't start fast enough defensively. And those are things we've addressed this week. We're going to continue to work to get better. The second half, I feel like we played a much better football game.
We did.
We just got ourselves in a hole that we couldn't get out of. But I say all that to say this. We're preparing for region time.
Yes.
And, we've had every curveball thrown at us in this first part of the season that you could imagine. With that being said, I got kids showing up to work to get better.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to show up to practice, we're going to work, we're going to get better. We're going to prepare to get into the state playoffs. And so that's our mindset. That's what we plan to do. Plenty of naysayers out there that want to talk. That's fine. we're going to keep working. And that's the only way I know how to be.
Well, that's the only thing that's what only thing you can ask of your kids. We got a couple players listening in on the show today, and I look at them and I see them on the field, and I know they're working hard, these two guys. And again, that's all you can ask is for guys to show up every day in the weight room. That's where it starts.
In the weight room, on the practice field.
Practice field and film and this and that and the other. So, the other night, matter of fact, on Monday, I teach our quarterback, and I said, gosh, we've had some bad luck with some of those pick sixes. He had a guy hit his arm this last time, kind of that dead duck. And the dead duck always goes to the defender.
Yeah,
always.
It does seem that way.
And he scored. We were just a play or two away of winning the game. And
but that even when I talked to my offensive lineman, we didn't have many protection fails, but that was one of them.
Yeah.
And I don't care who you are, you're getting hit when you release the ball. It's not going to turn out well.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit, and we'll move on, because it took us a while. Some of the numbers had changed up, and that's my fault. I did not re-download and print off. I'm sure you updated it on your roster.
Well, there were so many things. I updated on Max Preps, I updated on Huddle,
right.
I updated in my roster.
So
and I had several kids that asked could they be moved to a different number. And at first I'm kind of like, it's the middle of the season.
Yeah,
it's a little bit of a headache. And I was like, you know what? These are the kids that are working and want to be here.
Yeah.
And sure. And at first, I was kind of like, I don't want to do that. And then, I was kind of like, you know what? They're here, they're working. I need to do that.
Yeah.
And so some of them want to change around numbers. One of them sitting in this room. Now he wants to change back to his other number, which, me and him still going to have a talk about. But
well, the number I was going to ask you about, and he kind of come in and gave us a spark, and everybody's like, who is this kid? It actually took your wife. She was up in the very top row. She had to walk all the way down to the bottom of the field to ask somebody who he was. Number 2, that was Richardson. Is that correct? He come and give us a little spark at running back.
Yeah, he's one of our freshmen, and he's doing a good job. Still got, like all my freshmen, still have growing up to do.
Right.
But no, is he a good football player? Absolutely. He'll continue to grow as a player.
Yeah. Well, that was good to see. And I was going to mention a moment ago when you was talking about defense, and I know we don't like to. Once in a while, we'll call out names and that sort of thing. But the two Brown brothers, they're doing a pretty good job on defense.
They're getting it. They're starting to get it.
Freshman and a sophomore.
Freshman and a sophomore.
And the freshman had the interception.
He did.
That kind of got us that again another gave us opportunity there.
Right.
Great play.
He broke on the ball. He got to his zone, dropped on it, cut underneath it. It's great play. And those guys, they're freshmen and sophomore, but they're on the field and they're playing hard and they're getting to where they're supposed to be. So it's a growth process.
All right, Coach, we're going to put it behind us like we try to do every week. And we're looking forward to tomorrow night. And on top of it, and we haven't mentioned, we'll talk just briefly about homecoming. This is homecoming week. A coach's worst nightmare. I think football wished that we'd move homecoming to baseball season. Sometimes this can be a big distraction for the kids and the coaches and everything. But it really is a time to celebrate. I enjoy homecoming week because I remember how it was when I was in school. A lot of pride and took advantage of the things that we were able to do during the week, the dress up and the working on the floats and that sort of thing. We had the parade yesterday that was a success, and we'll have a pep rally tomorrow. That's going to fire everybody up. Our pep rally this year will be at the football field, and matter of fact, that's where we get the first taste of some live footage on the scoreboard. So we'll be on the football field, spreading the kids out a little bit in the stands and doing that sort of thing. But we'll be hosting Tattnall County. This will be our last
non-region game.
And we went over there last year, and I'm not sure we'll renew our contract with them over the course of the next couple of years, but they got a pretty nice facility. They just don't have any internet access, and I can't broadcast from there. Now we recorded and uploaded it later, but I mean you can't even hardly send a text, much less anything. So
their school is right in between the two cities.
It's a dead zone.
It used to be
literally.
It used to be two smaller schools, and they built a school right in between the two towns.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else out there.
Nothing. Just some trees and a stadium, and the school's there, but there's no contact with the outside world. but they're coming to our place
Right.
tomorrow night. And Coach, what do you see? We talked briefly off camera. I asked you a couple questions, and just by I haven't looked at any film other than last year's. Just by the score of them and Jeff Davis lets me know that they've improved.
They're a much improved team. They're shotgun wing tee. Their quarterback is elusive. They're going to present some problems with the way they run their wing tee, their spread look. But we feel like we have a sound game plan to take away the things they do best. As far as defensively, they have two defensive ends that are long-bodied guys.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had to plan around them. One of them I think is 6'5", 6'6". So we've done things to account for that. But no, we're excited to get them here and play them.
What have we made any particular adjustments or changes to, like defensively? Again, we lost one of our seniors last week.
We did
to a knee injury, and unfortunately, it looks like he won't be able to return this season. So that's another player we'll have to replace, next man up.
Right.
As far as
we've had we've lost arguably one of our best D linemen to a knee injury, and while that's tough to replace, we are going to prepare the next guy and get rolling. Scheme wise, we've made adjustments according to who we're playing. It's good to have my defensive coordinator back. He was sick for the early part of the season. I do think I'll get Coach McKenzie back finally. Knew he was going to either try to show up to school today. Not that he's ready for the practice field yet.
Right.
But I think he's was going to actually try to come into work today for the first time in over a month. So we're preparing. We're doing what we need to but yeah, we've got something schemed up that we think will help slow them down.
Well, good. And that's on the defensive side of the ball. And offensively, that the two quarterback system, obviously I think Riker's getting probably 60-70% of the snaps. But our other quarterback presents a problem for the opposing defenses.
Well, anytime you have two kids with two different skill sets, and that's the point of it. When you have two kids that you can work back there, and they have two different skill sets, and both of them can function running the offense, that's just twice as much as the defense has to prepare for.
Yeah.
And so I don't think until last week we had let Cozy throw but one or two, but he threw a good one early in the game, and we do have some things packaged for him to throw the ball.
Yeah, and that's only, I knew it was probably only a matter of time.
Yeah.
Because when he comes in, 90% of the time, he's going to run or he's going to hand off. But we're going to pop one.
Yeah.
He's going to have a chance to make a big play. Maybe toss it over to Antoine. He'll be wide open somewhere, I promise you.
Well, and that's the thing. When we bring him in that package, it's going to make it, they're going to try to bring more in the slot. To stop him with the run. So they're going to bring more in the box. And so, packaging some things up that he's comfortable throwing is really, kind of let our receivers take advantage of stuff when those opportunities happen.
Well, he's fun to watch, to come in because he is elusive. He runs real well. He's not scared to contact.
Not at all.
Not at all. And then we see Tomberlin, who to me, he made some throws last week that were pretty nifty. I mean, he's got a, I don't know if you call it a cannon, but he can zip it. That 15 to 20 yard range, it's flat.
He throws a good ball. And on occasion, Antoine will go get it.
Yeah.
But no, I mean he throws a good ball, and we got some receivers that are capable of going to get it. And so it's just a matter of keeping them protected and giving them opportunities downfield to get open.
Yeah, we saw sort of a 50-50 ball, if you want to call that, and Guinea is here with us during the recording, and Antoine Fuller, and he made a fantastic catch. Matter of fact, he was being held and pulled and tugged. It was a pass interference, but he just come up with a great catch and
great concentration.
Yes, for that touchdown to keep us in that game. And so, well, Coach, we look forward to a good homecoming game. We want the crowd to come out as always for homecoming and support the court. The festivities will begin at 7 p.m. again, and we'll be introducing, at least for the community, the live feed capability of our Jumbotron as we will project some of the things that are going on at homecoming festivity as well as throughout the game, gameplay. So that's exciting. So we encourage you to do come out and support Raider Nation tomorrow night. But if you can, as always, we will be broadcasting live on the NFHS Network, powered by Play on Sports, and brought to you by us, BCTV Red Raider Broadcasting. So, Coach, on behalf of myself and him, we want to thank you for joining us on this week's edition of the Red Raider Coaches Show.
Bennett & Johnson Insurance Agency in Alma is your local independent auto owners insurance agency.